All right. So, this review is primarily intended for those of us who may be new to the OSR, those of us who don't know what the OSR is, or maybe those of us who have so far tried to avoid this particular work for one reason or another. I've made this review to try and give you a reason to be excited for this product. Yes, it is an old product, I understand that. But you might have missed it, like me, until somewhat recently. But why would I try and make you excited for it, you might ask? Because this product is fantastic! Because I wish that I had been playing this for much longer than I have, because I think that you will be enriched by it. Without any further ado, let's get started. Lamentations of the Flame Princess is a basic D&D retro clone. It takes the classic rules of old school D&D and utilizes newer innovations to provide a sleek, streamlined experience. For those of us who started with 5th edition, like myself, it should be immediately apparent that this system is damn easy to pick up and play. Clocking in at 167 pages, this rulebook is filled with rules for the referee to know that the players don't need to. Honestly, players hardly need to know anything in order to be able to play this game, and that's to the benefit of the system. This is not a system for players who yearn for customization, for builds, for complex rules. This is a system for players who want to indulge in a gritty, immersive role-playing experience. Conflict resolution is simple in Lamentations. Attack rolls are performed by rolling a d20 and adding your relevant modifiers with your attack bonus. Skill checks are performed by rolling a d6 and trying to get a 1 on the roll, unless you have points in that particular skill, in which case you can roll a little higher and still succeed. Saving throws consist of trying to roll a specified number or higher, or you suffer some debilitating effects. It's incredibly easy to pick up and play. The entire experience is governed by the philosophy of rules-light gaming. The player declares their intention, the referee calls for a roll and adjudicates. Character customization in Lamentations is virtually non-existent, and that ends up being one of its strengths. Your characters are almost certain to die, often. Replacing them is easy. You roll 3d6 6 times in a row. You don't drop anything. Your modifiers range from -3 to +3 in familiar old-school fashion. Ability scores are your typical spread of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Your modifiers do mean something, but they mean much less than they do in 5th edition. What's more important is the class you choose and what level you are. Your class and level determines what your saving throws are. There are 5 kinds of saving throws: paralysis, poison, breath weapon, magic device, and magic. So everything falls in one of those categories. So for instance, paralysis might include anything that keeps you from being able to move, even if it's not literally a paralysis spell or effect. Every class has specified values for each saving throw that you must roll or exceed to pass your saving throw. These numbers decrease as your level increases, making it easier to succeed as you go along. It should be noted that you have to roll quite high to pass these saving throws in the beginning. Lamentations does not shy away from save or die mechanics, meaning you'll want to do everything in your power to avoid having to make these saving throws at low levels. Another thing to note is that the fighter is the only class that gets better at attacking as they level up. The game works hard to make sure that each class is really good at the thing that they're good at. The fighter is good at fighting, the specialist is the skill monkey, the magic user is the arcane master, the cleric is the miracle specialist. One of the things that Lamentations is known for is the specialist class. The specialist, which would otherwise be known as the thief or the rogue in other editions, has skill points it can spend to make it more adept at using skills. The skills range from architecture and bushcraft, which is essentially the dungeoneering and survival skills respectively, to sneak attack and stealth. If you have 3 points in bushcraft, you have a 3 in 6 chance of successfully foraging for food in the forest. All you have to do is roll a d6 and land anywhere between a 1 and a 3. It's easy. Having 1 point in sneak attack means that you get a +2 bonus to hit when surprise attacking, and if you hit them, you do twice the damage. Having 3 points in sneak attack means that you would do 4 times the damage on that surprise attack. The magic user has been tweaked to have far less offensive spells at its disposal, though it still has magic missile and things like that. There are no fireballs in this game, though. Way down the line, they do have access to Wall of Fire. One of the most transformative spells of the game is the Summon spell, which is a level 1 spell that allows the magic user to draw in a creature from beyond the veil and attempt to bind it to their service for a time. This can go horribly wrong if rolls are not made, leading to cataclysmic events where demons invade the plane in mass numbers to destroy the world. Several pages of rules and charts detail the process, making this spell one of the largest innovations the game has to offer. If you're worried about THAC0, don't be. The game uses Ascending Armor class. Lower to hit bonuses and higher base AC means that characters are less likely to get hit than in 5th edition, but they're a lot more likely to die. There are no death saving throws. Once you hit negative 3 HP, you're dying within the next 10 minutes, and no magic or natural healing can save you. If you hit negative 4 HP, you're instantly dead. The rules for combat are fairly straightforward. The game has room for tactical play, allowing combatants to utilize maneuvers such as pressing the attack for higher to hit and less AC, or fighting defensively for a penalty in their attack bonus for higher AC. They can also charge at the enemy at full speed with a bonus to their attack roll, but if their enemy is holding a polearm, they can intercept the charge with a bonus to attack and double damage. Polearms can be used from the second row, meaning that you can use formations to stand a better chance in defeating your enemies. Several weapons have unique properties that mean that you can use them in more novel ways than simply attacking, and some weapons are less effective against thicker armor. Droning on and on about combat when it comes to Lamentations is probably not the wisest move, though. Though combat is clearly going to happen, combat is not what players should be spending most of their time doing. The game blatantly states that players who spend most of their time killing are likely sociopaths and certain cannon fodder for an experienced referee. Rewards for killing are slim, and only for defeating enemies that are predisposed to fighting the party, which is mostly monsters. The lion's share of the XP the players will get will come from retrieving treasure from abandoned or uncivilized places and taking from the hordes of creatures that have no use for it. XP is doled out on a 1 XP for 1 silver piece basis. Exploration is a clear highlight in the book. The game contains rules for mapping, encumbrance, exploration turns, searching rooms, breaking doors, how long torches last, etc. The game is clearly intended to be a procedural dungeon crawler when your players are adventuring into the unknown. It rounds all of that out with some pretty hefty rules on city versus rural pricing, taxation, investments, retainers, ship travel, and ship-to-ship combat. You've got rules for researching your own spells, creating magic items, maintaining laboratories and libraries. Everything you could typically think of in a weird fantasy RPG is covered. It manages all this in less than 170 pages, and with a free PDF available so that everyone at the table can have a copy of the book free of charge. One thing it does not have is a bestiary. The expectation is that you'll either pull things from other OSR books, from any kind of old school D&D books or monster manuals. It translates very easily, or you might pull things directly from the adventure books that are published by Lamentations itself. Should you purchase a copy of the book, and you should, the book is full of art that varies from stylistic but less detailed black and white drawings to gorgeous color works depicting the utter strangeness and savagery that Lamentations tries to highlight. The art is explicit, though, and certainly not for everyone's taste. You can absolutely use the system itself to have fantastic adventures, but if you have a taste for truly strange fantasy, Lamentations is a publisher with a long line of published adventures that range from wacky to dark and sadistic. I'll be doing some reviews on those adventures in particular in the future. I own well over a dozen of them already, and there's only been one adventure in particular I wasn't wowed by. The rest are pure gold if you're into the aesthetic. Hope this brief review has been helpful. I've got a more detailed reading of the system I'll be uploading soon, and I've got plenty of adventure reviews to come. If you're interested, you can pick up the rulebook on DriveThruRPG for free, and you can order a print copy from all kinds of sources. Amazon is probably the easiest, but if you want to be sure that the author gets the most buck for it, try the Lamentations of the Flame Princess store online. It took me about a week to get my last order. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.